Hello and welcome to NetBrain R12 in Action webinar series. Here we will learn about NetBrain's newest R12 release and how it can help solve your daily network challenges with the power of no-code and AI. As you might have already guessed, today we'll dwell into the world of network security and also learn about some of the problems faced by the security operations groups as of today and how can we help. But before jumping in, let me ask you, what kind of challenges you guys face while implementing security policies in your network? Please use the comment box to list out all the challenges and we'll make sure to reply to you how to solve them with NetBrain's powerful automation tool. Now, some of the common challenges that we found in our customer interactions were: the first challenge is outdated documentation. Be it topology maps or your golden config templates, almost all modern security operations teams have faced at some point or the other the perils of an out of sync documentation. The next challenge that a lot of our customers have also repetitively faced is how to always maintain the golden config on the network. And no matter how strict the change processes are in your company, a good config always at some points gets replaced by a wrong config, which causes network disruptions. And today we will see how easy it is to stop this once and for all. And the last challenge is of responding to any security event more quickly than ever and recover the network state back to normal. Time lost here means direct business impact. Our answer to tackling all these challenges is a three-step approach based on the well-renowned NIST framework. So first is visibility. Visibility to discover all assets and devices in a hybrid network. We also do identification of the topologies and discover the golden configs on day one, the day you onboard your devices onto NetBrain, and then set them as golden. Next is the network security observability. Using the power of always-on analysis based on intents, compliance runs like NIST or your PCI need not be the Achilles heel of your security operations teams. I'll show you in the demo how easy it is to automate checks such as the vulnerability with zero sort of human intervention. Along with compliances which are on the device, you can also have observability of your network zones. So say which traffic is currently allowed or disallowed between DMZ and production zones, and observability of your application paths. Each device between different zones or each device which are part of any application path is always monitored for any config drift, and you can remediate any drift with one-click remediation. And then the final nail to close this loop is impact analysis and remediation. We believe that for every response, there should always be a recovery plan. Using the power of NetBrain Maps, triggered automation framework, and a very new AI bot, you can triage any security incident. Finally, once you close the incident, we'll also aid in assessing the impact radius using the leveraging of built-in knowledge of your network that we already have. So which among these three, if implemented, you feel can be a game changer for your network security stance? Let us know in the comment section below. So let's dive in right to the demo. We're going to start by exploring the visibility piece first. Let me show you how we can discover all network assets into NetBrain. The only thing that NetBrain requires is access to your network via front server, and then we can dynamically import a list of IP addresses that you give us via CSV file, or B, discover the network via the seed router. For example, if I quickly give an IP address, say 10804 here, now NetBrain will keep discovering all connected devices to the seed device, and this will keep on happening until we reach the assigned depth of 2. Now below, I can see the type of devices that are discovered till now. NetBrain supports multi-vendor platform discovery and API SNMP-based discovery for your cloud environments. Now, once the discovery process is finished, let's see what we can actually do with all these discovered devices. Okay, so from these discovered devices, I can go ahead and create maps such as site security maps, routing designs, etc. From the universal search bar, let me search for any already discovered device, say US Postal firewall, and then let's put it on a new map. Now I will use NetBrain's inherent knowledge of the network to draw out, say, the failover link for this firewall. Okay, so here I see the failover link for this firewall. Now, for any of these map devices, I can see the properties of the device, the configuration file, and even the data tables such as the route table or the MAC or the ARP address tables. Moreover, if I right click on the view configuration tab here, I can search and then select any relevant config to put it out as a note on the map. Now here, I have put the failover config as a note so that I can share this config with others, or maybe if I want to do some troubleshooting on this map, I can review this config later. NetBrain can also calculate the live path that your traffic will take from, say, source A to destination address B. For example, let's see what will be the path from the active firewalls outside interface to the internal web server that we have on our network, which is 10.8.1.25. Now, as soon as I click calculate, within a few seconds, the detailed path will be put on the map right here. Okay, so now this is not just a simple trace route which has happened, but in the backend, a series of complex steps were run, taking into account your routing tables, any policy-based route maps, ACLs, NATing information on all the devices which are part of this path to calculate the most accurate path. You can go to the path browser and then see multiple of the saved paths for your applications. Cool. So yeah, now let's get into the latest brand new feature that actually completes the visibility piece, which is the first demo, and that is the Golden Engineering Studio. GS in itself is a very powerful tool that we have designed that takes into account two things basically. One, the known state or the config which is kept as golden, and then what is the current state or config on the device. And if any of the device does not comply with the golden config rules, GS will raise an alert for you. The best part is this follows the create once and then forget approach. Now, if I go into the golden config browser, I can quickly discover all variations of a certain config type, such as ACLs of a certain number. Here we see, once I click on the ACL, there are three different instances on my screen for the access list number 120 with different subnets. Within each instance, there are multiple devices. Now, all the three different variations I've set as my golden templates because they were legitimate variations as per the different device types and regions. Now, NetBrain will automatically detect and alert if any new configuration for ACL 120 across my network is different than these three permitted variations. Currently, there are no alerts for this golden config. These sort of golden configs are discovered on day one as soon as you onboard the devices and then can be later modified or reviewed in the golden config browser in a structured folder format. Now in the browser, I can see network-wide, there are 26 golden configs I have discovered and applied as of now. And then I have 78 alerts. For example, under system, if I go to NTP, I can see that there is the UK London switch, which is currently running out of compliance with the NTP golden config. And I can see that this is due to the deleted configuration. Another useful feature is that the golden configs automatically get populated on any map you're working on. For example, on the same Boston failover map, if I go to the intent and then golden config tab, I can review if any of the map devices is out of compliance by clicking verify. This really helps me in uncovering any known issues prior to doing advanced troubleshooting on the devices. Similarly, we have the golden intent, which checks for the state of the devices and then raises the alert if any state is not in compliance with the golden state. Here also, we have different feature types such as failovers, QS, STPs, for which we can run automated checks to assess the stability and raise alerts proactively. Clicking on QS, say, I can see Boston Router 2 has a latest alert during the last run for increasing policy drops. And then repeating again, all this is just create and schedule. So once I set the run timer of different golden intents, They will keep running automatically and raising alerts for any non-compliance. So what do you think about this approach of having 24 by 7 visibility into your network? As a network engineer, for me, the map works as a goldmine of data where I have all the configs, topologies, states, and even the deviations under a single window. And then this becomes really useful for any troubleshooting or assessment effort that I'm going to make. Next, let me move to the second pillar, which is the network security observability. The fundamentals here are to A, protect the network devices against any known problems, and B, detect any issues with security between different network zones or application zones. I'll break the demo between two parts. First, we'll see few dashboards that we can create and easily run on NetBrain for device security compliances. And next, we will observe the network as zones and see security policy compliance enforcement between zones. Finally, I'll show how NetBrain can assist with maintaining security of application paths. Now, in the universal search bar, we have the observability dashboards. The first one is the CV advisory dashboard. Here we use the power of thousands of network automations, which we call as intents, to uncover affected devices for multiple vulnerabilities. And a lot of our customers are already doing it and remediating their devices for any new CVAs within day one itself. Further, I can also view the split of vulnerabilities per vendor easily. And clicking on any of the alert here will give me the diagnosis that NetBrain ran to provide the accurate data. Next is the compliance dashboard. Under the compliance dashboard, there is network-wide security policy compliance, which we continuously run to uncover any non-compliant devices for policies such as logging, AAA settings, or SSH, etc. Again, harnessing the power of automations here to keep these compliances running continually. And we can also build remediations inside these checks itself to do one-click resolution of any of the faulty config. Further, the geolocation maps help in quickly segregating the number of non-compliances in different regions. And the final dashboard is a very interesting one, which is a lifecycle assessment dashboard. This is very important to security since end of support devices never get any security fixes on the OS and are often the most susceptible to attack vectors. And again, here we get the publicly available data from the vendors through APIs to show which of the devices in your network are end of hardware, software licensing. Now, next, let's see how we can observe zone security and application security. Each network is often segregated into multiple zones, and often there are very strict security policies between how these zones can talk to each other. And in observing the different zones, we need to check first if any of the traffic which isn't allowed between two different zones is actually blocked, and then the traffic which should always be allowed is passing. You can use your devices as probes to generate traffic such as ping test, and then you can use the automated intents to run these tests to validate if traffic is allowed or blocked from the source device, which is in zone A, to the destination IP, which falls in zone B. Now let me show you one of this success message, allow traffic. So here the ping success rate is 100, and from zone DMZ to enterprise, the traffic should be allowed because this is correct as per the policy. Now further, we can also see the output of these tests upon the maps where we can see the zone segregations and the results. Under the zone security, the other assessment is to monitor if the golden config for critical devices in the zone is maintained and then remediate any deviations. Now, if I click on the alert here under the zone config drift, I can see that one of my firewall is failing the security rule check. And then once I run this automation, I can see the list of commands that need to be pushed to the device to remediate the alert. So for now, I will leave it as it is and then go to the next dashboard, which is the application security dashboard. Similar to the zone security, each application can also be segregated into different tiers, such as the DB tier and then the web tier, etc. Now, again, traffic is allowed or disallowed between different tiers. And here as well, we can test continuously the allowed and disallowed traffic rules using the devices as probes. and then monitor the compliance. So which of these dashboards, if implemented, can create the most impact for you in your network? Do let me know in the comment section. For me, personally, it has to be the vulnerability dashboard due to the countless sleepless nights I have had whenever a new vulnerability is discovered in the network. Okay, so let's now move to the last demo, which is impact analysis and remediation. For this, we will take an example of a DOS attack, which I think a lot of people already know. And this attack is happening on the firewall's outside interface, thereby blocking any legitimate connections. Now, NetBrain here works as a very good aid to your existing security tools and architecture to further enhance the security threat remediation scope. So first, here is the ServiceNow ticket, which I have opened, which clearly states that there are some duplicate TCP SYN packets from the source IP to the IP address 10.8.125, which is behind the inside interface of the firewall. This is a very common log on the firewall in the event of a SYN attack. Now let's open this incident. And if I just scroll towards the bottom, there is a tab for NetBrain automation. NetBrain can very easily integrate with third-party ticketing tools like ServiceNow. This integration is not only limited to data gathering, but NetBrain can even run actions such as predefined automations. Now, under the NetBrain automation, I can see that we have a auto-trigger diagnosis. And as soon as a ticket was opened, NetBrain checked the connection-related issues on the ASA. This in itself is a very good triage exercise, and it helps to shift a lot of troubleshooting efforts from humans towards machines. This diagnosis ran and found that the connection count is high on ASA and also logged a new NetBrain incident with the incident ID and associated a map. Then a few other diagnoses were run to check the resource usage. So all this diagnosis was completed even before the network admin is aware of the incident. The idea is to have NetBrain auto-diagnose every issue before any human intervention. Let us now open this incident inside NetBrain, and I will demo how we can further the troubleshooting on this incident. Okay, so here I have the Boston site security devices map over which the incident is logged with a complete detail of all the pre-diagnosis that NetBrain ran. Now over the map, I can see all the site devices and the results of the resource usage check. So here is the Boston firewall over which we got the log for duplicate SYN packets. And then on the right, a web server 10.8.125, which is our internal server. This is the interface outside over which we got the logs. Now, next, let me use the AI bot in helping me troubleshoot in natural language. So first I will type in what is the current connection count on the firewall. Okay, so I see still there are 100 connections in use. Most of these connections seem to be half open and in an idle state and originating from a single IP address. And these flags indicate that these are just SYN packets with no SYNAC. Okay. So next, I will ask the bot if there are any attack logs on my firewall. Now, this is just interacting with a smart robot which knows your own language. So the AI will use the LLM to find all relevant commands on its own as per the vendor and the platform of the device. All these labor-intensive tasks, such as remembering and running multiple CLI commands, is taken care by AI now. Okay, so now I can see that the bot has shown that there are some SYN attack logs due to threat detection rate limits breached. I think this information is enough for me to know that yes, there is a DOS attack on the firewall outside interface. Let's ask the bot to summarize this information for me. So I could just very easily now copy this data to my incident panel and then share my findings by tagging my teammates. So NetBrain works as a very good collaboration tool here for incident troubleshooting that involves multiple engineers or even multiple teams. So here I'll see these findings and agree that it is indeed a DOS attack, but I also know that we have some protections applied on the firewall for preventing such scenarios. These are limiting the connections from a single IP and any half-open connections. And I clearly remember adding these to the golden config the day we discovered the firewall. First guess, let me go ahead and check if the golden config has any deviation. For this, I'll verify all the golden configs which are applicable on my firewall. And as of now, I can see there are 4 alerts. Let's see this. So I'm not interested in the CRM application traffic. Let's skip this for now. And upon scrolling further, when I reach the policy map, I see that there is a alert. And yes, this is what I predicted. So the connection limit policy has changed. And let's see what's happened here. Okay, so the 2 lines of golden config, which essentially limit connections from same IP and half open or embryonic connections on the firewall to prevent SYN flood attacks have gone missing. I'll also take a screenshot of this current policy map and put that as my findings again on the incident pane. Now, since I have ascertained that the issue is due to faulty config, I also know that we built a remediation intent for this. Under the golden intent pane, I can review all the intents applicable to the Boston firewall. And I think this particular automation, which is checking for traffic policy compliance on the firewall, should be able to help me. So as soon as I click on run, it shows an alert since it detected that the golden config became non-compliant. And it has also generated a list of commands to push the right config back to the device. So once I click on yes, the change will involve an admin approval. So here I'll do a self-approval, but we could also easily integrate this change template with external authentication systems. The last step is to now execute this change. And once I click on execute, the change commands are immediately pushed to the firewall. Now let's go back to the golden config tab and again re-verify if the violations are gone. And if I scroll on the policy map now, I cannot see any alert. Further, I can also ask my AI bot to check what is the current connection count on the firewall. We were able to recover from this incident, so the job is done. Okay, so now once the incident is stopped and remediations are done, we also need to make sure that we do an impact analysis to know if the fallouts might be further than what we initially predicted. And then we also need to enhance a recovery plan to handle any more future incidents of the same type. Now we will tackle this using the action plan feature, which is built inside the AI bot. This converts the tribal knowledge into automation units, which can then be triggered on demand to assess impact. And then these can be used by anyone in the organization without having the required technical skills to run an assessment. Now let me go to the bot and run a new action plan to do an impact analysis on the firewall. As soon as I give this action plan, it will involve running multiple commands and diagnosis by NetBrain to check if things are working as expected. NetBrain is checking all critical routes, the config changes in the last week on the firewall, and then all the critical application paths where this firewall is involved. And all these reports are finally put on a summarized dashboard to view if there are any alerts. This forms a good base to do all sorts of impact analysis, as the network super users can create the checks in the form of automations, and then other engineers just need to run this after the incident has happened. Now next, to enhance the recovery process, we will keep on analyzing this firewall for one more day, and I will also put it over our existing past outage assessment dashboard. This will solve 2 purposes. First, if any more attack is initiated within one day, the alerts will be raised immediately. And then second, next time we could just refer back to this past outage assessment dashboard and just run these checks before beginning any new troubleshooting. And NetBrain will catch if it's the same type of incident. This means I'm solidifying my learnings from this troubleshooting into concrete self-propelled automations. Now here I've told the bot to keep adding the results of the connection count check to the security column every 10 minutes. Let's go to the dashboard now. And here I can see the widget has now a new proactive check for connection count. The alerts or success messages will keep appearing from the next run, which is in 10 minutes from now. Let's take a quick recap of what we learned in today's webinar. With NetBrain's revolutionary no-code automation platform built with AI, we can help simplify network security for your organization. This involves using a 3-step methodical approach for tackling network security, which involves number 1, gaining visibility into your network, which involves not only the devices, but all the configs and the topologies. Also, setting the day 1 golden configs using reverse engineering, and also discovering and setting the golden application paths. Number 2, observability for your compliance runs such as NIST using the power of automated intents, and also continuous monitoring and observation of your zones and application paths for any deviations. And finally, recovery and response for each incident that is generated in your network via self-triggered diagnosis, which helps to shift the troubleshooting efforts left and reduce the mean time to response. When applied, all these 3 together will mean that you get better control of your network security, and in this process also eliminate any human errors which can cause downtimes and delays. Let us know what are your key takeaways from this webinar, and also feel free to use the comment section to post any queries you have for us. Till then, goodbye, subscribe and stay tuned to our channel for more such webinars on Release R12. Thank you.